This is All Things 80s with Garrett, and I'm Garrett. We're in a location in Wilmington, North Carolina. This is the Bellamy Mansion behind me. I'm doing a special video on a movie called One Christmas. Came out in 1994 with Henry Winkler and Katherine Hepburn, Swissy Kurtz as well. What's really cool about this particular movie is that this is Katherine Hepburn's last role. So I was reading an article by Hunter Ingram. Hunter worked at the Star newspaper here in Wilmington, and it was an article about Jock Brandis, who worked in the movie industry here in Wilmington, and he was trying to find the last location, the last scene where Katherine Hepburn filmed her final scene. Katherine Hepburn was a 4-time Oscar winner. She's a movie star. I mean, she was a movie star, but she's a movie star. She is the epitome of being a movie star. So he's trying to find this the last location of where she filmed her last scene. Well, you know, I love to find movie locations, and so I started to look at the movie, and I found the locations. This was her first scenes in the movie, where interior shots were right here in the Bellamy Mansion. We're going to go inside in a second and take a look at those. But the other scenes were down in Keenan House, which is down the road this way, and that's the UNCW Chancellor's residence. But this here is the first location where it shows in the movie where she filmed, right inside here. I don't know which one is which was filmed last. It could have been Keenan House, it could have been here. It could have been another location that was maybe deleted, or they edited it out and they deleted her scene from the movie. But Jock Brandis is trying to find the location. So if you know the location, if you worked on this film, if you're in the movie industry here in Wilmington, you know anything about it, if you have a picture of that last day of filming, Jock says he remembers there being a party, being some pictures taken. It was a celebratory time on her last day of shooting. And so if you know the location, or you got a picture of that location, that would be great to know. We'd be great to have it. You can hit the comments, find me on Instagram.
You know what my father always used to say? You know what kind of noise annoys an oyster the most?
A noisy noise annoys an oyster the most.
This has been the inside location of the restaurant inside in One Christmas, and Henry Winkler would have been sitting at a table. So this is the Bellamy Mansion, but it was the restaurant a New Orleans restaurant. In One Christmas, we would see. What made this noticeable, that chandelier behind Henry Winkler's head in the movie, and there would have been a Christmas tree in that corner next to the fireplace, and then the little boy, his son Buddy would have been right sitting behind. You would have seen this window behind him, and it's really cool that it's decorated for Christmas, because this gives it the Bellamy Mansion, gives it a nice feel. But the floor, the carpet's still the same. There's a glimpse when the little boy goes in to this other room, and you see, he glances over, and Henry Winkler gives him the nod to go over to the other room. But you see the door frame, you can tell, you can see the thickness of it, and you also see when he walks over, you see the baseboard, how big the baseboards are over there. And this next room over here is where the private party is going on with Katherine Hepburn and Swissy Kush. I think I say it's Kush Swissy is her name, the actress, Micah Molly. And this is where he walks over. He had walked in this way, it's like Buddy came across. He would dress a whole lot nicer than Dylan, but they came across, and you can see the fireplace and the carpet. And he would have came in this room right here, and she would have greeted him. This is where she would have been standing.
Well, what have we here? My, you're a handsome young man.
Right about here, where she with Katherine Hepburn's first scene in the movie would have been.
Who's that?
Right
Emily?
there.
Who's there, Emily? Do I know these gentlemen?
Yes, Miss Cornelia. I was just apologizing to your beautiful niece for this intrusion. We have met before.
I have no such recollection.
Oh, it was just in passing.
Well, I meet a great number of people just in passing.
So the second location, this is the same room that Buddy would have walked into, but you didn't see the fireplace, but the tree, but Katharine Hepburn would have been at a table right about here, and there's a man that talks to her. He's standing in front of the fireplace. There would have been a picture above the fireplace, above the mantel, and he kind of greets her. There's this window behind her. It would have been there. There's a window. You could tell there's a window in this corner, but this would have been a table right here, and this is where. And she tells him, you're no better than he is, and hey, someone get me a drink. And this is her second scene. But this.
A lovely evening, Miss Cornelia. As always.
What is it that fascinates you so much about me? My youth. A child. Ah, yes. My money.
No. Well, now, money isn't everything.
Possibly not, but if you're ever asked to choose between youth and money, take the money.
But this is the same room as where Buddy walks into, and where we see Kurtz greets him. The first two scenes of interior shots that we see of Katharine Hepburn in the movie One Christmas is right here at the Bellamy Mansion. This looks a pretty Christmas tree back, and this is Market Street right out the front. When the second time we see Katharine Hepburn in the film, Buddy had a fight with his father and runs out, the little boy in the movie, and it's raining outside, and he's walking down this sidewalk with, you can see the black rail behind it, and you see those steps in one scene behind him.
Come on, snow!
It's rained outside, and then it goes. Then he's walking down, coming down from this angle right here, down the same, coming from this direction, and he decides to go across the street, and then it shows immediately like a car almost runs him over in this intersection. But what in the car it's got Katharine Hepburn's character in the movie. She's of course she's not driving it. Somebody's driving her. But this is the location, and you see. All right, so and kind of shows up in this angle here because you can see this house in the background. So this intersection where the little boy almost gets run over, but you see what's kind of cool was that house behind it. You see a diamond window in the door, and you see this house here behind it in this rain. I don't know if it was really rain or they just had a rain machine thing going on, but
That was foolish of you. Foolish. You could have been killed. No.
But this is where the intersection of where the little boy gets run over. This is the second time we see Katharine, or maybe I guess technically the second location, the third scene of Katharine Hepburn in the film right here. And then she takes them to her house, which is the house, her residence in the film is the Keenan house, which is on Market Street. We're on Orange Street. This is the house, Orange and 6th. This is the house that was used for Henry Winkler's character in the movie. And they show these doors, and they show this look right. The scene right here. This is the viewpoint. It looks like everything was shot inside, but this is also where there's a Christmas scene. It's a Christmas party he hosts that looked like it was definitely filmed inside this house. And Jock talked to Jock, and Jock says he remembers that he thinks this is where he went for Katharine Hepburn's last scene. They had a party for. My theory for this is that and even though she didn't have a scene in the movie at this house, at this location, but if they did have one for her, it could have been edited out, could have been deleted. And then my other possible theory, and this is probably a really good one, is that the day they filmed the Christmas party scene in this house, they filmed her scenes earlier that day elsewhere, and then since they were having a party scene, a Christmas party scene in this house, this could possibly be where her last, where they had the party for that night, even though they didn't have any scenes with her actually in it, but it was her last day, and that is, they filmed the Christmas party scenes, and then they just had a party, and recognizing that it was her last day of filming and her last day on set. So one of the two.
What kind of man lets his son run loose like a wild animal in this fine weather? Do you have a voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why don't you talk?
You scare me.
Yeah. Well, I scare any number of people. I scare myself.
Are you really as mean as you sound?
Absolutely. I'm worse.
All right, we're at Keenan House. This is the official residence of the Chancellor of UNCW, but this is the residence of Katharine Hepburn's character in the movie. This is the last scenes that we see of her. I can't get inside, but I've seen pictures that they posted online of the inside. What's really cool is that the interior shots, the things like the furniture, the furnishings inside it are still original from the same that was what you see in the movie in 1994 is still here inside the house. I'll try to line those up for you here in the video, but it's really neat that even though we can't get inside here, but the house still is like a time capsule of what it was like in 1994. I just got through meeting with Jock Brandis. It was a neat conversation with him and my son. We had a great time talking, but he thinks that the Bellamy Mansion was maybe the last scenes filmed. This is the last scenes in the movie shown, but with movies you don't know what is filmed first or what's filmed last, and sometimes things are filmed out of order and then put together in the last things. But he thinks that the party was held over at the Henry Winkler location, and that he thinks the Bellamy Mansion is the last location that she filmed her last scene, her last day on that. But still, if you have any information on the last day of Katharine Hepburn's last day filming in Wilmington, him and a few other guys and with Hunter Ingram are trying to figure out, trying to get a plaque put up to recognize this is her last movie role and her last day of shooting, her last role here in Wilmington, North Carolina.
What about Santa?
Santa Claus? You mean, is there or isn't there one?
My friend Toby says there's not.
Of course there's a Santa Claus. It's just that no single somebody could do all that he has to do. So the task has been spread among us all. That's why everybody is Santa Claus. I am. You are. Your father is. Even this Toby of yours is.
That's confusing.
Yes. Life is confusing. That's the nature of it. Life is confusing, but we muddle through. Now you just relax. You can be a child while you still can be one. Count stars. Think of the quietest thing, like snow. Remember what we talked about? Merry Christmas.
All right, thanks again for watching this video on Katharine Hepburn's last filming role in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I'll see you on the next episode of All Things 80s with Garrett.